So Citrix NetScaler platforms. So it is available in three models. One is physical appliance, and another one is virtual appliance, and another one is it is also available in public cloud. So it means Citrix ADC you can deploy on your public cloud such as Azure, AWS, and GCP, which is Google Cloud. So you can deploy it over the public cloud as well. When it comes to virtual appliance, this is a software. So you can deploy it on your hypervisor such as Zen Server, your VMware ESXi as well as your Hyper-V. So you can deploy as a virtual appliance in this hypervisor platform. And coming into the physical appliance, it is also available as a physical device. So you can rack mount in your data center, and you can use it as well. So based on the customer use case, it is available in all the flavors. So product lines. So when it comes to Citrix NetScaler, we have three types of NetScaler again, which is MPX, VPX, and SDX. So VPX, you can run it from anywhere, from any hypervisor. As I mentioned, it is an appliance. And then we have MPX, which is a physical model. So this will come with a physical box or physical appliance that you have to rack mount it. And third one is SDX. SDX is also a physical appliance, but it is a multi-tenant. So I will discuss in detail what is multi-tenant and what is the difference between your MPX and SDX. So VPX. So VPX supports software-based application delivery for data center and private cloud. So you can deploy on your preferred hypervisor and achieve high SSL performance with no hardware acceleration. Best use case that require a virtual platform, replacing hardware-based use cases, inexpensive and flexible. So VPX, it is nothing but a software. Okay, so how you are deploying your Windows operating system in hypervisor. Similarly, you will get a VPX appliance as a software. So you can just go to Citrix portal and you can download that appliance, and then you can deploy that on your private cloud. When I say private cloud, you should understand private cloud is nothing but your on-prem data center. Public cloud is nothing but your cloud data center, which is AWS, Microsoft Azure, and GCP. So you can get this VPX appliance and you can deploy it on your private cloud as well as on your public cloud. Okay, so it is supported in major hypervisors, as I already mentioned, such as your Hyper-V, your VMware ESXi, as well as your Zen server. So best use case, for example, let's say you're moving all your physical workloads into virtual workload, then this is best suitable. Why? Because you no need to maintain a separate box or or separate space in your data center rack for the NetScaler. So you can replace your physical appliance with your VPX, and you can reduce the data center space. So then the second one is replacing hardware based use cases. For example, let's say you wanted to reduce your data center space and you're going to virtualize all your data center, then this is best use case. So you can deploy your virtual as a virtual appliance and you can avoid the physical things. And third one is inexpensive and flexible. The third, why it is inexpensive? Because it will start with 300 Mbps and it will go up to 10 Gbps in speed. So you can at any time you can change the license and you can get the bandwidth changed. So I'll come to the bandwidth part, etc. Okay, so and the flexible, it means it is flexible to deploy at in any of the hypervisor or in any of the cloud. For example, let's say if your company is moving to the cloud, then you can also deploy in the cloud the same appliance and you can get all the benefit which you are getting in the on-premise. So that is why it is flexible and inexpensive. So this is related to VPX. And the second model and second type is MPX. MPX support hardware-based application delivery and load balancing, purpose built for cloud scale and performance for SSL needs. Best suitable for managing web application with the multiple gigabyte of traffic, high performance web application security, high performance SSL support. So basically MPX, it is a physical device. So it is basically used for the application which requires which processing multiple gigabyte of traffic. For example, if you consider with VPX has a limit when it comes to processing your traffic. So you can go up to 10 gigabyte, I believe, the maximum bandwidth you can get. And also there is a limit on the SSL transaction. For example, let's say if you are users are generating SSL traffic, maybe 5,000 sessions, so or 10,000 sessions. With VPX, there is a limitation, so you you cannot go beyond that limitation. However, with the MPX, you can go up to certain level as compared to VPX. So this supports more SSL transaction and L4 and L4 and L7 throughput, etc., etc. Okay, in general, it is having a high capacity compared to VPX. And the second thing is it is having its own SSL chips. If you wanted to know what is SSL chips is nothing but a special kind of chips comes with the hardware appliance that will help you to offload your SSL traffic or decrypt or encrypt your SSL traffic. When it comes to your VPX, VPX doesn't have its own SSL chips. It will use the hypervisor SSL chips. Okay, that is the reason they have the limitation on the transaction SSL transaction processing, etc. But when it comes to MPX, it is having its own SSL chips, so that it can use that SSL chips to optimize or do the offloading of your SSL traffic, etc., etc. Okay, so best suitable, as I mentioned, if you have a web application which requires multiple gigabyte of data to be processed, then you need to go with MPX appliance. Okay, and SDX. So this is a very beautiful concept. So and SDX is nothing but a fully isolated multi-tenant support for application workloads and groups. Okay, so in order to understand SDX, so I'll go to my whiteboard. So consider MPX. So as I mentioned, MPX, it is a dedicated physical appliance. Okay, so this you can deploy on your data center. And VPX, as I mentioned, this you can deploy on your public cloud or on your private cloud. Now comes to the third part, which is SDX. SDX is nothing but it is a NetScaler appliance itself, but inside SDX you can deploy a number of VPX. It is same like a hypervisor. Okay, so for example, let's say I'll take the use case. Let's say you have 10 applications. Out of 10, 5 application belongs to production, 5 application belongs to non-prod. Maybe we'll take 15 application and another 5 application belongs to your test and development. So you wanted to do load balancing of all these appliance, sorry, all these servers or web servers. One option, you deploy VPX and do load balancing of all this. However, this is highly not recommended. Why? Because there is no segregation between production, non-prod, and test and development. You are using a same VPX appliance to do all this load balancing, which is security-wise highly not recommended. So one more option is same like MPX. You can go. So with the MPX also, it is same limitation. Still, you are going to use a same physical box to load balance all your production, non-prod, and your test and development application, which is security wise not recommended. The only difference between MPX and VPX over here is it is just a physical appliance. However, there is no segregation when it comes to your load balancing the backend application. So in order to overcome these scenarios, you can go with the SDX. The beauty of SDX is it is a physical appliance or it is a single box, physical box. Inside this physical box, you can create a number of VPX appliance. For example, you create one VPX only for the production. You create another VPX only for the non-prod, and you create another VPX only for the test and development. And then use this to load balance your production servers, use this to load balance your non-prod, and use this to load balance your test and development. Now you may have a question, still I'm using the same appliance, how it will overcome the security challenges? The answer for that is this SDX box comes with its own physical ports. Okay, so you will connect the cable which belongs to production to that physical cable, sorry, that physical interface, and another cable for the another interface which is only for the non-prod, and you have a third one which is only for the test and development. So network wise, there is no intercommunication between these. Okay, it is totally isolated, and this interface will only talk to your production, sorry, test and development, and this one only talks to your non-prod, and this one only talks to your production. Okay, so there is no interconnection between these traffics, so that you're going to isolate everything on the network level logically and physically. So there is no intercommunication between these traffic, so that you can avoid these security related issues where there is no communication between production to non-prod, non-prod to production, or to test and development, etc., etc. So this is the beauty of SDX. This is one use case for the SDX, and another use case is for the SDX is consider the MSP, managed service provider. For example, your company which is providing a service to multiple customers. Okay, for example, this is customer 1, and this is customer 2, and this is customer 3. Imagine customer 1 is having an application, and this guy is having one application, and they are having one application, and now they wanted to do the load balancing. So they will come to MSP, they will come to you, and they will tell their requirement that I have some application, I wanted to do the load balancing, and I need your help. So what that time you have one option, either deploy MPX or deploy VPX. For example, deploy MPX or VPX over here for this guy, as well as same VPX or MPX for this guy, and VPX for MPX for this guy. So now you're going to load balance your customer using 3 different appliances. However, for the MSP who are managing this Netscaler, it will be a headache because they need to manage all the 3 Netscaler individually. So in order to overcome this, what you can do, you deploy one physical SDX box. Okay, so for example, this is a SDX box. Replace it with one single appliance, which is a SDX box, and inside this you create multiple VPX appliance, and then you do load balancing of your customer applications. So for the MSP, it is very simple. For him, it is only one device to manage physically, but logically, you have a 3 appliance inside that. So this is another advantage of MSP, another advantage of SDX, where you can host multiple tenants in a single appliance, so that you can manage or administrate easily of your environment. Okay, so that is the meaning of multi-tenant. Okay, so here I mentioned multi-tenant support. So let's say, what is the best use case? Supporting hardware based application with virtualization. As I told you, this SDX box is having a virtualization layer. So it comes with it comes with the Zen server as a hypervisor. So using that Zen server, you're going to deploy the VPX. So that is the meaning of supporting hardware based application with virtualization. Second one is consolidating multiple physical load balancer. So one more use case I can speak about SDX is, for example, let's say you have the data center. Let's consider you are a big company. You have a big company. So you deployed multiple MPX appliance. Okay, MPX appliance 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, let's say this is used for your Citrix CVAD as a gateway. Maybe this is used for your Exchange load balancing, and this is used for your web application as a WAF for your internal public facing applications such as your SharePoint or portal, or this is used for the VPN gateway, etc. Okay, so now ultimately for the administrator or your Citrix admin, it is a challenge to log into this and manage everything separately. So instead of what you can do, instead of avoiding all these physical appliances which is taking a rack space in your data center, etc. So simply buy one SDX box and create a VPX and move everything to this one, so that you don't have a headache to manage all the a number of physical appliances. Instead of, you'll only manage one single appliance. Inside that, you'll have all the instances related to your this MPX. So this is the one more advantage of Citrix Stix. So the third one is supporting fully isolated tenants. As I told you, I gave you the example of prod, non-prod, and how we can isolate both logically as well as physically. Okay. And then the fourth one is simplifying application rollout from staging and development environment. So this is where nothing but, let's say if you have two environment, one is for production and another one is development. So if you wanted to roll out any test and development to production, so you can have a separate instance for the production and a separate instance for the development, so where you can do all those testing, etc. So once you satisfied with the testing, you can easily roll out that to the production environment. So this is nothing but as similar to the first example which I gave, which is related to production, non-prod, etc.